Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Have you ever dreamt of starting a business at home, but you are worried about how it will affect your life, how it will affect your family, how it will affect your deen, and quite frankly, how it will affect your sanity? Today, inshallah, I'll share three common mistakes that Muslims make when starting a business and what you can do to avoid them. My name's Aisha and I help Muslims succeed without overwhelm. Before we begin, don't forget to download your free printable planner on www.cupofparenting.com/planner. Mistake number one is not clarifying your intention. So when you're thinking of starting any sort of business, whether that's at home or away, you need to think about why you're doing it. How is it going to change your life? Like, what is your end goal? I remember a while back when I was first getting some business coaching from Muslim coaches, and they said to really, really think about how it would affect your life in the sense of what kind of lifestyle do you want out of doing this business. So, and they asked the question about what was your purpose behind doing the business? Like, what did you want at the end of it? What kind of lifestyle did you want to be living whilst doing the business? And these are really important and real questions that you're supposed to think about before you even start on your business plan or your business idea, because ideally you don't want to get off track and go off your life purposes or your life goals. They've got to align with your business has to align with them rather as much as possible, inshallah. So how will this new business venture fit into your life? Or if you currently have got a business or you've started it, how is it fitting into your current lifestyle? How will it affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How will it affect your relationship with your children if you're already like a busy mom or you're already a busy Muslimah? How will it affect your relationship with your family and how much time you're giving into it? And as a result of doing this business, what kind of lifestyle will it make you have? So like it's obviously going to have an impact on your day-to-day routine, depending on obviously how many hours you're spending on it. So before even thinking of the nitty-gritty of the business itself, you need to ask yourself these questions. And there isn't a right or wrong answer, but your answer needs to be true to yourself and to your lifestyle and to your life goals. That's the most important thing, I think, that people sometimes don't think about the bigger impact of what they're getting themselves into. So these are really important questions. Second mistake is that we often, when starting a business, try to do everything alone. And as Muslims or as moms, you often put pressure on yourself to try and juggle everything: the cooking, the cleaning, the things that need to go on a day-to-day basis in your house. And then on top of that, you're learning how to do a business or you're running your business. And in the long run, that's not sustainable. So you need to have a little reset and think, actually, how can I involve my family? How can I involve my children in the other chores that need to be done around the house on a day-to-day business? And you also need to think about delegation. That's like a really big word, the buzzword that they use, the business coaches use. And yes, in business, when you're first starting out, you won't be able to afford to hire other people, but inshallah, when you start to get successful, this is something really important to think about. Is they tell you, your coaches or mentors will tell you to start delegating things to other people, so not to do all the tasks that you need to do yourself. And the second thing is that you need to think about delegation in your own household. So for example, if you are one of those people who like to do everything yourself, and you're getting tired and overwhelmed, and it means you're not spending enough time on your business or it's affecting you, you need to think about delegating tasks to the children. And subhanAllah, when I teach parents positive parenting, this is one of the key lessons that we teach, is about allocating in a weekly family meeting the sort of roles to everyone, what needs to be done that week. And even very young children can do little simple tasks. Often you underestimate them or you just do it yourself because you feel like that's easier than delegating it to children. But that's actually a really wrong approach, because actually you're teaching them responsibility and empowering them. So if you teach them that responsibility of doing a lot of tasks around the house themselves, because if you live together as a family unit, the tasks should be divided, then inshallah that'll give you a bit more time as well to then focus on your other things, including a business. Mistake number 3 is that sometimes Muslims ignore the boundaries between the work and the family, so between the business and the family life. And you need to think about how many focused hours in a week, because it might not be the same day to day, understand, especially if you do different things on a different day, on different days of the week, and your days aren't exactly the same. You need to decide in this week how many hours realistically and healthily can I invest in my business? So whether that's before the children wake up, when the children go to bed, when the children are in school, depending on your situation, you might not even have children, but what time are you gonna sort of block off and then purely focus on your business? And what about the rest of the time? How are you going to delegate that? Rather than sort of haphazardly every single day sitting down saying, right, today I'm going to work on my business and do this and that. And then at the expense of neglecting your other responsibilities that you have as a Muslimah and that you have as a mother, any other responsibilities that you might have. So make sure you're not neglecting those, and make sure you have healthy boundaries. Like, look at the time, and if it's been a couple of hours and you said that those were the hours you were spending on the business, then that's it. I know it can be hard, but step away from it then, and don't be tempted then throughout the rest of the day to keep checking your phone or your emails and things when you're supposed to be doing something else, like, focusing on your house or focusing on your children. That's more healthy, because then you'll be able to consistently spend just the allocated time on the business, rather than just sitting for endlessly for the whole day doing it, and then you suddenly realize, well, at the end of the day you haven't done any of the other things that you were supposed to do, and then you're overwhelmed, and then you're stressed, then you're disheartened, and all of those things that go alongside it. So really think about the time allocation and the boundaries, and what kind of things that you're happy doing and what kind of things that you're not happy doing, because it might impact on your family life negatively. So even though these are sort of prerequisites, I think these are definitely really important to think about, honestly, before you even start a business. So when you do any sort of good high quality business coaching, this is what they make you do, and this is what they talk about. And it's really good to even reverse engineer it. That's like a really good tip. So that, what I mean by that is, if I say to myself, like, this is my business idea, this is what I want at the end of it, and I've thought about how it's going to impact, like, my intention behind it, I've thought about how it's going to impact my family life, I've thought about how many hours I'm going to allocate to it, then go backwards and say, okay, in order to achieve it, this is what I need to have done by week 1, this is what I need to have done by week 2, this is my quarterly sort of target. So in the whole year, after the year's quarter, this is what I hope to have achieved. And then you can, like, have targets, but also make sure that they're aligning with your intention, with your lifestyle, with your boundaries. So if, inshallah, you think about these things, the next step is then to think about, okay, what exactly am I going to do and how am I going to do it? That's like a next stage. But first, think about this sort of background checks, if you like. If that all seems good to you and you're happy with that, inshallah, and you've thought about it and you've discussed it with your family and whoever it's going to impact, you don't need to go out and discuss it with anyone and everyone if those people aren't important to you. But people who it is definitely going to impact are the people that you live with, and maybe even your other family and friends, if you, like, trust them or they've done something similar. Get advice from them as well if you trust that they have your best intentions at heart, or that they've got experience and that they can advise you. Sometimes it's good to speak to someone. Sometimes I speak to someone who might have, like, a critical perspective, so that then I can ask them, oh, what do you think? And then they might, like, put another sort of perspective on it, and then you can be happy with what you're doing, because you can say, okay, that's good. Or maybe they might say, oh, but what about this or what about that? And they might offer a different angle at looking at what your idea is, inshallah. So remember, set your intentions, don't do it all alone, and protect your family time. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes your business successful, inshallah. Also, don't forget to think about how it aligns with your deen, right? As Muslims, obviously, there's some things that we can do and there's some things that you can't do. So you need to think about how it's going to, whatever you're doing fits in with the premises of Islam as well, inshallah. So don't obviously forget that. But that's something that should always be in the back of your mind, whatever you're doing, not just starting a business, inshallah. I hope you found this video useful, inshallah. If you did, don't forget to watch my next video on starting a successful business for Muslim moms. Until next time, inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.